Good evening, everyone. My name is Councillor Debbie Arnott and I'm the Mayor at Warrnambool City Council, and I will be chairing tonight's council meeting. I would like to formally welcome everyone watching this council meeting. This meeting will be live streamed to allow for public viewing and transparency, and if any technical problems interrupt the live stream during this meeting, the meeting will be adjourned until the issues are rectified. This scheduled council meeting will be conducted in accordance with council's governance rules, and any interruptions to the meeting or actions not in line with behaviour expectations will be dealt with in accordance with these rules. Tonight I have Councillor Angie Paspalarius to my left, Councillor Max Taylor, Councillor Ben Blame, Councillor Vicky Jelly, Councillor Ota Akosh and Councillor Richard Ziegler. Welcome, councillors. We will now proceed to the items of the agenda, commencing with the opening prayer and an acknowledgement of the traditional owners. Would you all stand, please? Thank you. We just had a little technical interruption then, and I'll just move a motion to resume standing orders. Councillor Ziegler, Councillor Max Taylor, thank you. We have already introduced the councillors and made the welcome to country. There being no apologies for this meeting, I move to item 3, the confirmation of minutes. Councillors, at item 3 on the agenda, we have a recommendation before us to confirm the minutes of the scheduled meeting of council held on 5th of June 2023 and additional council meeting held on 26th June 2023. Do I have a mover? Councillor Taylor, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Paspalarius, thank you. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest this evening? No, thank you. Just move on to the mayoral presentation. Last week we were very fortunate to hold the Salter Search Party, and this was another fantastic event with over 6,000 people attending. And it's just wonderful to be able to offer a unique family-friendly and free event in Warrnambool. A strong attendance speaks loudly of the success of the event, and I must congratulate all those staff who were responsible for coordinating such a wonderful occasion for so many. As well, the Warrnambool was held at the Art Gallery, and such a lot of talent on display, and I was truly in awe of the skill. Congratulations to Liam Barling and his intricate detailed pen drawing of Grace, and this piece of work has to be seen to be fully appreciate the talent of Liam. Congratulations to all involved who made that as well an exceptional evening. And on the same night as well, the Marai View Art Gallery held their competition, and there were lots of magnificent pieces on display, and they were judged by the very well-renowned Catherine Ryan, and her expertise and knowledge and narrative of each winning piece was very informative and pointed out the subtle nuances of art. Certainly a learning curve for myself. Congratulations to all the winners, especially Ricky Shembry, who won the Best in Show award. So some really great cultural events for Warrnambool last weekend. Andrew, are there any public questions tonight?
Yes, through you, Mayor, we have a question or two questions from Helen Brown, and so maybe we invite Helen to the lectern to ask those questions.
Helen, could you come to the microphone, please?
Thank you. Without sounding like a squeaky wheel, I want to ask the progress that's been made in the consultation for the neighbourhood house, and I now have a letter dried in my mailbox to say that it is progressing on, but it doesn't really give a lot of information other than that. One thing about that I would like to suggest is there was a pamphlet produced by council to canvass community opinion or feedback for the Brierley Community Hub. And I wondered, is there any reason that can't be rejigged in perhaps a more simpler form to be distributed amongst West Warrnambool quite quickly? There must be a process council used to evaluate the findings from that particular process, and unless you don't own copyright to that particular document, it would appear to me that's a very cheap, efficient, quick way to get something out to the community. Councils had endorsed at the last 3rd, 5th of June meeting to the commencement of design of the neighbourhood house. I'm wondering, is that design to do with the design of the build structure and how that can occur before a decision is made whether it is likely to be located or where within that Pecton Avenue Park? The council informed us on the 5th of June that the addition of a neighbourhood house in the park would have very little impact on the overall open space available in the area and will in fact have a net positive impact of place activation. Even on the proposed thumbnail drawing that came to us on the 5th of June, that in itself is quite a substantial piece of that very small park. And unlike North Warrnambool and Briley, who have some luxury of space...
We've just had an interruption to our live stream, so we'll just continue with Helen's questions. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you, Mayor. As I was saying, North Warrnambool has Briley Park, or the Briley Precinct, which is a fabulous open green space. In West Warrnambool, we have actually very little green space, certainly of the nature of the Pecton Avenue area. And of course, the fact that we don't have space in West Warrnambool is evidenced by you considering that the Pecton Avenue Park is the only place you can put this neighbourhood house. In the aspirations in 2014, this council, in their open space strategy, stated it equitable that access to open space will be distributed as fairly as possible across the municipality. And for accessibility, the aspiration was a variety of open spaces that are accessible to all residents, regardless of age, ability and culture. Residents should have at least one open space within walking distance of their home. Now, it may be that this council has moved on from their aspirations for their open space policy. I don't know. I remain concerned regarding the risk of co-location of the facility. 3 other co-location considerations identified risk in relation to children. I quote from your 5 June agenda: the Beamish Street Kindergarten required to operate as a kindergarten, inadequate service space and high risk. Mahogany Kindergarten, inappropriate for use as it is contained within school premises. And Materidge Swinton, inappropriate to be co-located at a childcare centre, their council's words. Now, the 3 things those locations have in common are children. And of course, they are supervised children, whereas the Pecton Avenue Playground Precinct has unsupervised children. Council's 5 agenda identified the legal risk and impact of this project as Department of Families, Fairness and Housing, reiterating to you that the current program delivery doesn't meet the requirements of the program and it needs a dedicated location. Cessation of funding would result from not addressing DFFH's need for a dedicated location and risk to council's reputation. That was the only risk identified in your risk analysis in your agenda. I did ask your director on the night if there'd been a risk analysis done, confirmed it was. I asked for a copy and the director suggested that that would be done at the community consultations. But I respectfully asked tonight if I could have a copy of that risk analysis to actually determine the extent of the analysis that council has taken in relation to this site, please. The new pedestrian crossing on that Pecton Avenue playground has prohibited parking. Sorry.
So is this your second question, Helen?
It's a segue because the pedestrian crossing is actually the second question. It has now prohibited parking next to the playground because the yellow prohibition lines run either side of the crossing to protect those using the crossing. It also now means that people with very small children, babies and prams can no longer park right next to the crossing. And I'm already watching this weekend, even on the wet grass, people are having to park up on the nature strip, and I'm not sure what can be done to alleviate that. So my second question is, when and what consultation was sought by council with residents regarding the location of the Pecton Avenue pedestrian crossing at the playground? It has resulted in residents immediately affected losing on-street parking in front of their properties by way of that parking prohibition yellow line. My engagement with residents living in the immediate vicinity, which I might add is their engagement with me, now on Pecton Avenue, informed me that community engagement did not take place to determine the impact on residents now prohibited from parking outside their own premises. It's actually causing difficulty to two of those households who seek support to remain in their own homes, and that support... Okay, it's caused difficulty to those reliant on access by services to those properties. A resident in that yellow prohibition area said that they did take this up with council and was advised by the engineer that he did not agree with the location of the property. Now, I can't verify this, deeming it too close to the bend of Pecton Avenue. However, the installation this person assured me proceeded and disregarded that advice, and I hope I'm going to be proven wrong on this account. So my last point is, the same residents are very concerned that this is a precursor to the neighbourhood house co-location in that it will progress without adequate consultation. Trust in the council held by the residents of the playground crossing area is exceptionally low, and have no confidence that you will consider their needs as resident ratepayers. And I would have to say, finally, that looking at your consultation score, it would appear that this is not street theatre anymore. Thank you very, very much, councillors, for that.
Thank you. Andrew?
Thank you, Helen, for those questions. I'll provide a reasonably brief response, given they were lengthy questions. But just to confirm, a mail out has gone to to over 2,000 residents in West Warrnambool, informing them around that we'll be starting engagement in relation to the West Warrnambool Neighbourhood House. It's very important to recognise that this is the start of a comprehensive and process, and that a range of issues will obviously need to be given careful consideration, and I'm sure that council will be guided by the community engagement. We've developed an engagement plan, and we're seeking, we're looking at options for rolling that out at the moment, and we'll be, that process is underway. The issues that you've asked questions about specifically around risk, transport, parking issues are all obviously issues that will need to be explored during the community engagement phase. So, yeah.
Could I just do one more response? There is still no sign up at the playground by council indicating the proposal of using that playground as a co-location. And whilst you have sent 2,000 letters to the West Warrnambool community, I assure you people outside the community are using that playground. It is a really good green space. So I pray the council will reconsider that and very shortly be able to put up some sort of signage so that people can start to be aware and formulate something constructive and not combative with council.
So a range of consultation engagement methods will be used, and we can certainly give consideration to signage on site. That's, yeah. In relation to the Pecton Avenue crossing, so consultation occurred with a letter drop to surrounding properties and face-to-face consultation or conversations with nearby residents. I can assure you that the crossing has been designed and signed off by an experienced and authorised traffic engineer, and the location hasn't been determined. We're not presuming or being presumptuous around the West Warrnambool Neighbourhood House, but it was seen as the best location in terms of a mid-block location to help slow traffic, and it provides good linkages for parents and children, and it provides an important link between playground and school routes that we know about. And so, again, this sort of traffic infrastructure is really important for slowing traffic down in neighbourhood locations. So hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, we also have 2 questions from Laxton Fowler.
Thank you, Laxton. If you could come to the microphone.
Thank you. So my questions relate to outcomes from the budget submission in relation to the livestock exchange or sale yards site and the Aquazone process. So first of all, with the livestock exchange, land use options for the former sale yards livestock exchange site are currently being investigated. Please advise the scope, that is to say kinds of land use, decision criteria, which is to do with council versus commercial, industrial, income versus cost and so forth, short and long-term viewpoint, etc., and the timeline to delivery of recommendations of these investigations. Who's doing these investigations? At what stage will community consultations be involved? And considering, just as my suggestion, considering the prime location, its prime location for access in terms of being at the intersection of Curramut and Coglan's roads, near the Cressy Bridge, which gives access to north of the river, and ample parking space, and that the sports facilities and a number of commercial enterprises are already present in that area, are considerations such as the West Warrnambool Neighbourhood House permanent position and or things like a community hub being considered for that area. Likewise, sports facilities such as a second, perhaps complementary Aquazone facility or something like that. Thirdly, to reserve for future decisions any parts of the site that are not readily assigned for the current period, because it seems to me like a very strategic location in terms of the city as it grows. Shall I go to question 2 as well?
Well, I can answer that first question if you like. So council's an engaging experienced planning consultant to undertake future land use assessment of the sale yards and surrounding land, and a preliminary environmental investigation is complete, and an economic baseline analysis is progressing. So council will be adopting a clean slate, what we would call a clean slate approach to what can be used on that land. So we're not going in with predetermined uses in mind, but we will certainly consider a wide range of commercial as well as community type uses. It's expected that council will look at or get a draft master plans and highest and best land use master plans for the site. That will obviously also involve community consultation. So where we are at the moment is that we're in that sort of preliminary phase. There's been a fair bit of work done to date, and the focus to date has been around doing land use or land use assessments, particularly around ground conditions and potential contamination. So we're once again at an early stage of that master plan, but it is progressing, and there will be obviously opportunities for community engagement.
Thank you.
Would you like to read your second question, Laxton, please?
So, council's in process of appointing a consultant to investigate the future requirements of an aquatic and fitness centre in growing Warrnambool. Can you please advise the scope, criteria, timelines in the same sort of way? What locations are being considered? Is it possible to consider retaining the current Aquazone and achieving the necessary expansion by adding a second aquatic and fitness facility elsewhere in the city? For examples, near the stadium courts area in the sale yards livestock exchange area, or perhaps in the Gateway Eastern City area, maybe Brearley Estate. Once such expansion project is completed and operational, the existing facilities may be partially closed for refurbishment and upgrade without disrupting services. Just a suggestion.
Thanks for the question. So once again, we're at a very early stage. We're just in the process of appointing consultants to help council with the aquatic strategy. The aquatic strategy will obviously need to look at both social, environmental and financial factors around what we're going to do in the future. We'll be looking at a variety of different sites and different service delivery models, which could involve the sort of things that you've mentioned there. Obviously, we'll need to do consultation again with the community, but also with neighbouring councils, because one was effectively providing a kind of a regional facility. And so the draft strategy is expected to be completed later this year, and we do have some information up on our website around the aquatic strategy.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We're now moving on to the officers' report section of the agenda. Thank you. We'll move on to item 7.1, the News and Social Media Policy, agenda page number 6, Directorate Department Corporate Strategies. This report provides information on the revised news and social media policy. Are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Taylor, thank you. What is your motion?
I would like to move the motion that Council release the revised news and social media policy for public exhibition for a period of no less than 14 days as per the officer's recommendations.
Thank you.
Your Honour.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Jelly, thank you. Councillor...
Sorry, point of order. I had a question just about this.
Oh, I'm
item.
sorry, I didn't see you.
That's okay.
Yep.
I don't think I was listening properly. I was just wondering that it said public exhibition for a period of not less than 14 days. Is there an indication of when? Like a date or range or month or?
Through you, now I'm just looking, I think we're saying for no more than 14 days. I think our expectation is that we'll try and get this out fairly much straight away,
Okay.
and the plan would be to bring it back to the August meeting,
Okay,
ideally.
thank you.
Thank you. Are you happy?
Yep.
You're right with that? Okay. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. Online and traditional news services, along with social media, provide opportunities for council to engage with and inform the community about council activities, programs, events, services and initiatives, which all collectively play a crucial role in facilitating transparency, accountability and public trust. The revised news and social media policy provides guidance for councillors, staff, contractors, volunteers on the use of news and social media for the purposes of informing and engaging with the community about council activities, responding to media inquiries and personal use of social media where this council is a topic of online discussion. The Act states that the role of the Mayor includes being the principal spokesperson for the council and to lead engagement with the municipal community on the development of the council plan and perform civic and ceremonial duties on behalf of the council. The Councillor Code of Conduct also states the Chief Executive Officer is the official spokesperson for all the operational matters, including staffing and the structure of the organisation on corporate issues relating to council services and the day-to-day business of council. Other councillors are free to discuss matters with the media, however, in accordance with the Code of Conduct, councillors expressing independent views through the media must make it clear that any comment is their personal view and does not represent the position of council. The Staff Code of Conduct reinforces the role of the Mayor and the Chief Executive Officer and spokespeople for the council, while also providing guidance on using social media. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Jelly, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you. I I think it's necessary both media and community receives accurate, clear and relevant information in a timely manner. This is outlined within this policy. It's quite a big document. To ensure that Warrnambool City Council provides updates and a true representation on all appropriate happenings, policies, news stories, decisions, resolutions of council. Warrnambool City Council needs to be on the front foot in leading this information for clarity to the community.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Do any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Blaine.
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. Look, I think it's good it's going out for consultation. I think one thing this policy really does show well is it really defines the role of not only the council and the mayor, but the CEO and the organisation, and who should be responding, and how council responds to any social media or news questions, without taking away the right without taking away any right, which is already stated in the Code of Conduct, for political debate amongst councillors in any council direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any other councillors wish to speak? Councillor Paspaliaris.
Thank you, Mayor. This policy is required because we need an obvious framework to refer to, and also to ensure that people are adhering to it. It provides guidance for people who work within council, who work for council, who work alongside council, so that people are aware of the expectation. The news and social media policy has been reviewed, it's been modified, and I'm content with it going out for public exhibition. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any other councillors wish to speak? No. Oh, sorry, Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, I'll endorse most of the comments of my fellow councillors, and just make the point that the fact that we've got such active social media and those mechanisms now, it's very important that council interacts with them in such a way that it informs our community and makes sure that as much information as council's able to give gets out to them in as many forms as possible.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Do any other councillors wish to speak? No, thank you. Obviously, this policy is all about a consistent and coordinated approach when we're interacting with the news and social media, and we need to ensure that our council's communications are accurate and professional. It also sets a standard and regarding our conduct and behaviour, and that's also consistent with relevant legislation and policy. So I'm happy for this policy to go out for public exhibition. There being no further speakers, Councillor Taylor, do you wish to close?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I will now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. We'll now move on to item 7.2, the Community Satisfaction Survey 2023, agenda page number 9, Directorate Corporate Strategies. This report provides information on the results of the 2023 Local Government Community Satisfaction Survey. Are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? No. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Jelly, thank you. What is your motion?
To accept the officer's recommendation that council notes the results of the 2023 Community Satisfaction Survey and makes the survey results available on the council's website.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Ziegler, thank you. Councillor Jelly, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Acknowledge that this council acknowledges the results of the 2023 Community Satisfaction Survey. There's a lot of factors and different questions in there, a lot of variety of people asked their opinion, which is good. Various decisions over the past year will have been factored into their responses, and it's good to get that feedback. And as a council, we need to strive to achieve, to do better. There's no doubt that the community consultation process at Warrnambool City Council needs to take on a new direction and markedly improve from how it is implemented, and right through to delivery to the community.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's worth noting that on many of the measures, the community satisfaction survey was disappointingly lower than it has been in past years. That's probably due to various controversial decisions councils had to make. The public generally isn't discerning if they're dissatisfied with one or two big unpopular decisions, and they basically just slam council as a whole. I think that's probably the reason. Having said that, our averages are equal to or slightly above regional averages, but we acknowledge the fact that some of the satisfaction measures have declined.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Do any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Taylor?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. Survey results were strongly influenced by several complex issues at the time of the survey, being the closure of the Southwest Victorian Livestock Exchange and the investigating of the viability of constructing a new art gallery at Cannon Hill. In hindsight, now that the closure of the sale yards and the final relocation of the art gallery are behind us, we have every reason to look forward to be far more positive on survey results in the near future. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Is there any other councillor who wishes to speak? Councillor Paspaliaris?
I would agree with some comments of my fellow councillors. I think that after the unusually high scores of the year before, we've been brought down to earth a little bit with this current survey. I think it's telling that there are the two, let's say, worst affected categories of community consultation and making community decisions. As Councillor Jelly alluded to, there does need to be, I think, some improvement on our community consultation processes. And I guess making community decisions, yes, that does seem to be on the back of some controversial and highly emotive decisions. Obviously people, members of the public feel very passionate about certain things, and they are well within their rights to describe that when surveyed. But I think it is also important to note that this is a measure of the community's perceptions of council's performance. It's not council's actual performance, but I think, as Councillor Taylor mentioned, we do need to keep striving, and we do need to look forward and see where we can improve and make genuine plans to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paspaliaris. Does any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Blaine?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. I think this year's community satisfaction survey, it shows two main things. We have to do better, and communication is key. The low ratings, and even if it is from two controversial, then even if there is a big mention of two decisions from the last year, it's because our consultation, because of the way we communicated, hasn't been done well. And that feeds into all of the other measures. And it's really something that we need to understand why we failed, and we need to learn from. And we will get better, and we will improve the perception of council moving forward. I think this is a really important wake-up call to council to understand well and be truly engaged with its community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blaine. Do any other councillors wish to speak? Thank you. Look, no doubt this result of our customer satisfaction survey has been disappointing, and we have to accept that. And obviously, we need to do better in some areas. And I think as my fellow councillors have said, the area that we really do need to look at is our community engagement and how we convey our decisions and our reasons behind our decisions to our community. We need to look forward now, and we need to focus on those areas of communication and hopefully improve our standing within the community again. Councillor Jelly, is there anything further you wish to add?
No, thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. There being no further debate, we'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Carried unanimously. We'll move on to item 7.3, S11, Instrument of Appointment and Authorisation, Environmental Health Officers, agenda page number 13, Directorate to Executive Services, to appoint newly hired environmental health officers as authorised officers for the purposes of relevant legislation. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? No, thank you. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Blaine, what is your motion?
I'd like to move in the exercise of powers conferred by Section 224 of the Local Government Act 1989 and the other legislation referred to in the attached instrument of appointment and authorisation. The instrument, Warrnambool City Council resolves that 1. The members of council staff referred to in the instrument be appointed and authorised as set out in the instrument. 2. The instrument comes into force immediately when the common seal of council is affixed to the instrument and remains in force until council determines to vary or revoke it. 3. The instrument be sealed. And 4. Any previous S11 instrument of appointment and authorisation, environmental health officers be revoked.
Thank you, Councillor Blaine. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Paspaliaris, thank you. Councillor Blaine, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is we've done a few of these now. This is just a renewing of the delegation. Every time there's this change in personnel, there needs to be a council motion in order to change the appointment and delegated powers. The environmental health officers, they do play a critical role in Warrnambool in relation to the promotion and protection of public health and safety. So I'm happy to support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blaine. Councillor Paspaliaris, do you wish to speak to the motion? No, thank you. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? No, thank you. Councillor Blaine, do you wish to speak before closing?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Carried unanimously. We'll move on to item 7.4, the gymnastics program, the transfer of business, agenda page number 15, Directorate Community Development. This report provides background on council's gymnastics service and recommends an alternative service delivery option. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Paspaliaris, what is your motion?
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council support the transition of business management and operations of the gymnastic program and the associated gymnastics assets to the Warrnambool Springers Gymnastics Association from 1st of January 2024 for a peppercorn fee of $1 payable on invoice. Thank you.
Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Ziegler, thank you. Councillor Paspaliaris, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I think that this issue overall presents what I believe to be a common sense solution. It seems that the proposal has majority support from the Warrnambool Gymnastics Committee, and it is not council's core business to own, operate and manage a gymnastics service, so transferring it to a group of people who are suitably skilled, passionate and knowledgeable about gymnastics and how and where they want the sport to go in future sounds like a good idea to me. Under the MOU, the equipment becomes property of the club, and given much of the equipment is of low value and cannot be repurposed, this also makes sense. The MOU also outlines council's obligation in paying lease electricity and rates for 1 year to assist the club in establishing itself in its new form during the transition period. And I think that this is a decent gesture from council and one which would be warmly received. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paspaliaris. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I do, thanks, Mayor. The fact that council is involved at all was as a result of the cessation of the YMCA involvement in the facility and its programs back in 2004. It makes perfect sense now that, given that the council's involvement ensured the continued operation of a gymnastics program, that it's now operating itself, and would prefer that council was less involved in the operation of the sport. Makes perfect sense that we bow out and continue to help them in the form of the peppercorn rent. I think it makes perfect sense that they are able to direct their own operation from now on.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Jelly?
Again, especially Councillor Paspaliaris's words all make perfect sense. It's a great opportunity for the club to grow their own business, develop it, they're the experts, and still provide a great service and a healthy activity for the community.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Do any other councillors wish to speak? Councillor Blaine?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. I actually think this is good. It's a great result for council and the support that we've given them over the last, I've worked it out in my head before, 19 years. Yes, yeah. Sorry, over the last 19 years in order to keep the club going, and I look forward to seeing them go from strength to strength, not only with the support of council but with their new committee. So I really do wish the gymnastics club all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blaine. Any other councillors wish to speak? Councillor Taylor?
I'd just like to endorse my fellow councillors' comments. And after 19 years of dual management, I'm in support of the Warrnambool Springers Gymnastics Association to manage and provide for gymnastics in Warrnambool. The Springers Gymnastics Committee have voted in agreement to develop an alternate model of management of gymnastics in Warrnambool, and are requesting the council transfer the gymnastics business, including the centre equipment and the gymnastics employees, to the club at the end of 2023. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Do any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? No, thank you. Look, I think this is just quite a logical process to happen for the gymnastics club. They're ready to take over the running of it. Councillor being generous, helping them out for the first 12 months, and we wish them all the best, so thank you. Councillor Paspaliaris, is there anything further you wish to add? No, thank you. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. We'll move on to item 7.5, the joint reseal contract 2023-24 and 2024-25, agenda page number 19, Directorate City Infrastructure. This report is to inform council on the current status of the joint bitumen sealing program with Corangamite Shire and seek approval for continuation of the current arrangement in 2023, 2024 and 2024-2025. Are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Taylor, what is your motion?
I would like to move a motion that the Warrnambool City Council enter into a joint infrastructure contributions agreement with Corangamite Shire Council for the 2023, 2024 and 2024-2025 bitumen sealing works as per the officer's recommendation be accepted. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Just a question there. Do I have to add these into
but I think Councillor Taylor said.
As
he's
per the
moving the officers the
So,
recommendation.
okay,
That's fine.
thank you. I was just clarifying, Councillor Taylor. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Paspaliaris. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. This new joint agreement will reduce running and administration costs, provide larger combined program of works and economies of scale, resulting in reduced ceiling rates, providing much better value for money for the councils. Both councils' programs contain very similar scapes undertaken by specialist contractors, which accordingly provide a greater opportunity to achieve efficiencies, and I do not have a problem with any of this. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Paspaliaris, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I think that this type of agreement works well because, as Councillor Taylor mentioned, the scopes of work required by both our council and Corangamite is similar, and it displays the need, I think, for a joint contract, which makes sense overall. I also think that there are some negatives in council adopting its previous direct procurement method. So this joint sealing program, bitumen sealing program, should deliver savings and efficiencies that would otherwise not be possible with a direct procurement method. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paspaliaris. Do any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? No. Thank you. Look, I think this is just a good financial outcome for both councils. The collaboration between Corangamite Shire and Warrnambool City Council, it gives us the best value for both councils. It will help reduce costs, administration costs, and because it's a larger program, we'll get a better economy of scale, which results in reduced sealing costs. So I think this is a good outcome. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak any further to the motion?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.6, DP 2023-0001, the amended development plan application, 119 Bridge Road, Bushfield. Agenda page number 22, Director, City Growth. This report considers the amended Woodford Heights Northern Development Plan submitted for 119 Bridge Road, Bushfield, and recommends that Council approve the amended development plan as submitted. Councillors, are there any questions before I second motion? No. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Taylor, thank you. What is your motion?
I would like to move a motion that Council approve the amended development plan under the relevant provisions of the Warrnambool Planning Scheme in respect of the land known as described as on Lot 1, Title Plan 829725T at 119 Bridge Road, Bushfield, which seeks to facilitate future low density residential housing development as per the officer's recommendation be accepted. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Jelly, thank you. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. This amended plan changes some aspects of the existing Woodford Heights Estate Northern Development Plan that was approved at the October 2021 Council meeting. The previous plan showed development of only 9.64 hectares within the low-density residential land of 19.79 hectares. The balance of the land was greyed out and designated as an area excluded from the development plan. The amended plan now shows 30 lots in a similar layout and a similar looping road. but with the repositioning of some drainage assets, the amended development plan was placed on exhibition from the 24th of April 2023 for a statutory period of 2 weeks where no submissions were received. So I'm happy for this development to proceed. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, councillor Taylor. Councillor Jelly, do you wish to speak to the
I'll
motion?
just reserve my right to speak. if that's
Okay, thank you. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? No. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to close?
No, thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Okay, I will now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried 6-1. Thank you. We'll now move on to item 7.7, the Advisory Committee reports, agenda page number 28. This report contains the record of one Advisory Committee meeting. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Blame, what is your motion?
I'd like to move that the minutes of the Airport Reference Group meeting held on the 22nd of May 2023 be received.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Taylor, thank you. Councillor Blaine, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Are there any councillors who wish to speak? No, there being no further debate, I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. No notices of motion have been received. Councillors, are there any items of...
No,
Point of order, we
missed
have
the-
one
the-
more
I've
item.
missed a page.
You've missed the informal meeting and the mayoral chief executive report,
7.8.
7.8, 7.9.
Oh, sorry, I'm missing a page. Sorry. There we go.
So,
We'll now move to the item 7.8, the informal meetings of council reports. Directorate Executive Service. The purpose of this report is to provide council with copies of informal meetings of council, previously known as Assembly of Councillor records, as previously required under section 80A2 of the Local Government Act 1989. Are there any questions before I seek a motion? No. Do I have a motion, councillors? Councillor Paspaliaris, thank you. What is your motion?
That the record of the informal meetings of council held on 19th and 26th of June 2023 be received.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Paspaliaris, would you like to speak to the motion? Councillor Ziegler? No. Do any councillors wish to
no,
speak?
sorry, I did have one question. Sorry.
Okay, yep.
It's just, I think we're missing one. I think we're missing the first one in June, first week in June.
We had a meeting.
We had a meeting the first week, then we didn't have
Was
a
it the
meeting.
5th?
Yeah, it's like the 5th, and then there's the one after it, and then there's the next two, because we had 3.
I'll look into that, and what we can do is we'll bring that back at the next meeting.
Yeah, sorry.
Yep, that's
The
fine.
14th, though, we didn't have one. It was the long weekend and
Yeah, we didn't have, but we had one the week before, the week after the meeting.
the meeting.
Yeah, so we had the meeting, and then we had one, then we didn't have one, then we had.
If we,
Okay.
I'll look into it. If we're missing one, we'll bring it back.
Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
No, that's right. I'm just...
No, we wouldn't.
That's
I
right.
don't think we
No, I
did.
don't think we did.
No, I don't think we did. We had the formal meeting on the 5th of June,
Then we had the Monday.
and then the
public holiday.
14th, it was the long weekend and Canberra was on, so we missed that one. And then it
Sorry,
went to
you
the
might be right.
19th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's the two.
Sorry.
it looks short, but
Actually, you.
it's right,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
it's the two.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
We sorted?
yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have so I've got a motion. We've moved the motion. We've got a seconder. Any other councillors wish to speak? No? I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. The Maryland, item 7.9, the Maryland Chief Executive Officer Council Activities, Director Executive Service. The report summarises Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Council activities since the last ordinary meeting, which particularly relate to key social, economic and environmental issues of direct relevance to the Warrnambool City Council. Councillors, are there any questions? No? Do I have a motion? Councillor Ziegler, thank you. What is your motion?
I move that the summary report be received.
Thank you, councillor. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Jelly, thank you. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to speak? Thank you, councillor Jelly. No. Any other councillors? I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Carried unanimously. Sorry about missing out that bit, people. Item 8, notices of motion. No notices of motion have been received. We'll move on to general business. Councillors, are there any items of general business? No, thank you. Chief Executive Officer, have you received any notice of items of urgent business?
No, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. There being no further items of business, I'll declare the meeting closed at 6:45. Thank you, everyone.